Clerk will now read all school budget orders, 186, 2324 through 192, 2324.
Order 186, 2324, approving state local EPS funding allocation for public education from kindergarten grade 12 for Portland Public Schools for fiscal year 2025, sponsored by the Finance Committee, Anna Trevorrow, Chair. Order 187, 2324, approving non-state funded school construction debt service for Portland Schools for fiscal year 2025, sponsored by the Finance Committee, Anna Trevorrow, Chair. Order 188, 2324, raising and appropriating additional local funds for Portland School for fiscal year 2025, sponsored by the Finance Committee, Anna Trevorrow, Chair. Order 189, 2324, approving the total school operating budget for Portland Schools for fiscal year 2025, sponsored by the Finance Committee, Anna Trevorrow, Chair. Order 190, 2324, appropriating and raising funds for the adult education for fiscal year 2025 as required by the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, MRS, subsection 8603-A1, sponsored by the Finance Committee, Anna Trevorrow, Chair. Order 191, 2324, to raise and appropriate local funds for the food service in the Portland Public Schools for fiscal year 2025, sponsored by the Finance Committee, Anna Trevorrow, Chair. Order 192, 2324, authorizing the disposition of any additional state subsidy received for Portland schools in fiscal year 2025, sponsored by the Finance Committee, Anna Trevorrow, Chair. And that's it.
Chair will turn to Chair Trevorrow for comment.
Thank you, Mayor. These are the school budget orders before you. There is the major school budget approval and several accompanying budget orders. The Finance Committee went through a process of recommending this to the Council. We met jointly with the school board as required by the charter. This recommendation is before you today on a second read. We've already had the first read on it, and with that, I have no further comment.
Thank you, Councilor. I will now take any public comment on any of the orders incorporated in this list of school budget orders. You can comment on the budget as a whole. You can comment on a specific order. If that's your concern, you're free to do as you wish. Yes, the clerk reminds me before you start. No, you stay. That doesn't mean go away. That just means pause for a moment. If you provided public comment at the first read, then we would ask you not to comment on the second read. And I assume, I don't recall. Okay. Terrible with names, but I do remember faces. So by all means, ma'am, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Lily Kendall, and I am the Schools Program Manager at Cultivating Community, a nonprofit and long-term community partner of the PPS District. As we approach the final votes on the school budget, I wanted to first thank the Council for their continued support and to also ask the approval of the full budget and to fully fund PPS schools. It is essential that educators and students are given all of the resources they need in order to succeed. This budget not only allows for more teacher planning time, which is essential, but it also supports the expansion for specials such as environmental literacy that gives students the opportunity for more hands-on experiential learning opportunities. Because of these reasons and many more, we support the full budget. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to provide public comment? Thank you.
Hi, my name's Aoife Nugent, 56 Moody Street.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
you may want to move the mic close to you.
Oh, thank you.
Spoken.
Thanks.
There you go.
Nugent, 56 Moody Street. I wanted to speak also on behalf of the budget to say thank you so much for all of the hard work you did in getting it to this stage, and thank you to the superintendent as well. I know it's not an easy process. I just want to say I have a child with an IEP at the East End School, and I am always humbled by how his needs have been championed by his support team there time and time and again. And this is something I want for every child, and in order to have that, we need a fully funded budget. We need a fully funded budget to keep the excellent teachers and administrators we have in Portland and to draw new excellent teachers and administrators here. There's no shortage of data, research, ideal examples of what it means to properly invest in public education. Sort of shocking that we have to have this conversation every budget season, but here we are. A population that's better educated, has less unemployment, reduced dependence on public assistance programs, greater tax revenue. Education also plays a key role in the reduction of crime, improved public health, and greater political and civic engagement. And since I see my friend and colleague Mike Dixon isn't here, I'll steal his quote, which he often brings up, quoting some council members from somewhere, saying that what a shame and tragedy it is that we have our public education funds connected to property taxes, because this pitches neighbor against neighbor and community member against community member, and it's really heartbreaking to go through this every season because we are working towards a better Portland and an equitable Portland, and this involves unequivocal full support for our budget. Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else wishing to provide public comment on the orders regarding the school budget?
George Rowe, West Bayside. I just wanted to note I support this budget. I think this budget is probably better than what people had expected a few months ago. But, you know, it's a shame that this budget involves staff cuts. And I think, you know, for years, especially during the John Jennings era, there was, if not an open battle, there was definitely a pitched battle behind the scenes between the school side of our municipal budget and the city side of our municipal budget, fighting to the death with each other. And that is sort of crazy. We obviously recognize that people, you know, want to protect their turf, but you can't understand this budget without looking at both sides and everything that the city does, not just the school side. And the fact that we wall off the school side is important for various reasons, but there should be a lot of cooperation, and there isn't, frankly. And there are some people fighting to make that less so. But I'm concerned that there are choices that should have been made to give more to the schools, because the schools are trying to stay stable. And if you don't have stability, you can't make progress. And we have a lot of voices in the city decrying the achievement outcomes not being up to par and not being acceptable. But yet that somehow never translates into those same voices actually getting up here and advocating for more resources. To give one example, the Greater Portland Council of Governments sends us a bill for about $140,000 every year, and we're paying it on the city side. And that effectively right now, if you kind of dig through their budget, subsidizes two former politicians, Belinda Ray and Andrew Zorro, to have cushy jobs there. But yet we have staff positions in our school department who are being let go, frontline workers, people who are supposed to be doing frontline work day to day with real students and real families, not being funded. And you're going to say yes to the GP COG dues bill, and you're going to say no to the, or basically you're going to agree with the cuts that are being made to staff at the school level. I don't know exactly how you
30-second
match
warning.
those things up, but I know how I would choose. I would not be subsidizing ex-politicians. I would be making sure every dollar that we have available would be going to make sure that our schools have a level of stability to do their jobs at least average, not overperforming, because we obviously refuse to fund that. But we should not be undercutting them. And that's what this budget ultimately does. It is reducing the opportunity that our schools should be giving our kids and our families in the city, and making it less desirable to bring your family to Portland and make an investment in their well-being and their future here. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to provide public comment on the school budget orders? Before I close public comment, I invite the superintendent or the chair of the school board for comments of their own, should they choose. Madam Chair.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I'll speak on behalf of both Dr. Scallon and I. I just want to thank each of you for the time that you gave to this budget, for the questions that you asked, because the budget got stronger through that process. And while it is not ideal, I would love a lot more money, I do feel like this budget presented balances both the needs of our district and the needs of our community and taxpayers. So I would appreciate your support tonight. Much gratitude to you all.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay. One last call for public comment. Seeing none, public comment is closed. I now will entertain a motion on Order 186, 2324.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Chavarro,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Rodriguez. Is there any discussion? Councilor Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be supporting all of the orders related to the school budget, but I wanted to take a moment just to say, especially since I don't anticipate being here next year, this will probably be the last school budget that I approve after, I think it'll be 8 consecutive ones. So I've seen different iterations of this process, and Superintendent Scallon, I want to make sure, I'm confident this is the case, that as every budget process is, that there was a big learning experience associated with it. I know that, I had an opportunity to speak to about 24 different employees, ed techs, teachers, and they were relating to me their experience of the budget process. And I know that particularly some of the positions and programs that were initially envisioned to be cut and that were ultimately brought back into the budget, that the advocacy that took place to make that happen, both the board members that brought up amendments once the financials allowed it to be, that all that allowed a really deep engagement and learning of the programming that takes place in our schools. As you've been doing since you arrived here, to make sure that you understand everything that we're offering. I said at the very beginning that the framing of a school budget that is centered around, cuts that are away from the classroom is problematic, because in an organization, not just in the schools, but in the municipality, everything is connected, and making a cut in central office ultimately does have an impact in the classroom and in the services of our students. So I do want us to look at these things holistically and not frame things such as, pitting central office versus classroom staff, or pitting one school building versus another, and to really educate our community into the way that our programming is interconnected. And as we heard from public comment, how it's not just in the school buildings, that it relates to the city staff side of the municipality side of operations. So again, every budget process allows everyone that's included, community, staff, counselors, etc., to learn a lot. I'm sure we all did. And I look forward to how these lessons learned allow us to prepare our school budgets in the future and ultimately fund the programming that we're also proud to say that we take our children to Portland Public Schools. That's it. Thank you. EMS week, people.
I think you got it there even with the sirens. Councilor Chavarro.
Just very briefly to say thank you to the school district. I appreciated our joint meetings, and I appreciated the presentations to show us how the budget is, again, guided by the district's goals towards equity. I think that education is the greatest community asset that we have and returns the greatest value. So I'll be supporting this tonight. I look forward to it. Thank you again.
Councilor Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to take a few minutes to thank our side of the aisle, chair of the finance committee, and then the committee members, and also thank the school side for the collaborative work that they put in. I too hope and wish that we didn't have to cut any, but that is what it is. But hopefully, as Councilor Rodriguez said, whatever the process is, I hope we take the lessons that learned so that next year we will do it differently. Thank you.
Any other comments from the council? All right, I'm just going to a brief one. Councilor Chavarro, thank you for your work. I was very confident that you were in that position, given your experience on the school board and their finances. So you were reading a document that you understood well, and she advocated clearly and cleanly positions for the city while understanding what the school was confronting. I appreciate that. She's a quiet leader, but she's effective. I thank the committee for their work, and I just want to say something quickly. I've witnessed the budget process between the school and the city be confrontational, and there was a lot of backroom sniping that went on to produce an eventual document. This has not been the case. I'll credit my predecessor. She committed with the school to have a collegial partnership. We've carried on that legacy. Councilor Shavaro and her team, Superintendent Scallon, you and Chair Lenz, we're true partners in this process. You made some hard decisions. We respect that. And I also mentioned that the city manager did her fair share trying to coordinate resources with the administrative staff at the superintendent's office. So it was really a team effort. And I will support all these orders as well, because I recognize that it wasn't conducted two independent bubbles hoping to come together for a vote. This truly was a joint effort, and I appreciate Superintendent Scallon for digging in and recognizing the value of the path that we hope to take in getting to this evening. So thanks, everyone. If there's no other comment, we have a motion on the floor. Call the roll.
Counselor Fournier?
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Counselor Sykes?
Yes.
Counselor Ellie?
Yes.
Counselor Bullitt?
Yes.
Counselor Trevorrow?
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
Counselor Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Dion?
Yes.